Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In a previous video lecture, we have studied the different types of FM detectors. In today's video lecture, we are going to discuss about what is meant by noise. Then after that, we will see the different types of noise. Then what is meant by signal to noise ratio. Then after that, we will study the noise figure and noise temperature. Okay, so let us start with the first point, that is noise. As we know that the noise is nothing but it is an unwanted electrical disturbance which gives rise to audible or the visual disturbances in the communication system and the errors in the digital communication. So there are different sources of noise. The noise can be arises from the different types of sources, and the sources of noises are: the first is natural sources, then second is man-made sources, and third is the fundamental sources, or we can say the internal sources. Okay, so let us see first what is natural sources of noise. We know that the natural phenomenon that give rise to the noise are electronic storms, or we can say solar flares and radiations in the space, and the noise received by this receiving antenna from the natural sources can only be reduced by repositioning the antenna system. Okay, so the noise which is originating from the sun and the outer space is known as extraterrestrial noise. Okay, and this extraterrestrial noise can be again subdivided into two groups. The first is solar noise and second is the cosmic noise. We know that our sun is being a large body at high temperature, radiates a lot of noise, and this noise radiation from sun varies with the temperature changes on its surface. So the temperature changes follow the cycle of 11 years. Hence the periods of this great electrical disturbances also repeats after every 11 years. And the cosmic noise comes from the stars, and this is identical to the noise radiated by the sun, because stars also are the large hot bodies. Okay, so this noise is called as the black body noise, and it is distributed uniformly over the entire sky. And we also receive noise from the center of our galaxy and other galaxies and other virtual point sources such as quasars and pulsars. Okay, so this is the natural sources. Okay, then second is the man-made sources. We know that the man-made noise is generated due to the make and break process in a current carrying circuit, and the examples are the electrical motors, we can say welding machines, then ignition system of the automobiles, then thyristerized high current circuits, fluorescent lights, and the switching gears, etc. Okay, so these are the man-made errors. Then third is the fundamental, or we can say the internal sources of noise. So here in the fundamental sources of noises, here noise are within the electronic equipment, and they are called the fundamental sources because they are the integral part of the physical nature of the material which is used for making electronic components. So this type of noise follows the certain rules. Therefore it can be eliminated by properly designing the electronic circuits and equipments. Okay, so these are the sources of noise. First is natural source, second man-made sources, third is the fundamental sources, or we can say the internal sources. Okay, then after that we will see the types of noise. So the fundamental noise sources produce the different types of noise which are as follows. The first is thermal noise, then second short noise, third is the partition noise, fourth low frequency or flicker noise, and last high frequency or the transit time noise. Okay, let us study them one by one. The first is the thermal noise. We know that this thermal noise is also called as Johnson noise. So here the free electrons within the conductor are always in a random motion, and this random motion is due to the thermal energy received by them. So here the distribution of these free electrons within the conductor at a given instant of time is not uniform. So it is possible that an excess number of electrons may appear at one end or the other of the conductor. So the average voltage resulting from this non-uniform distribution is 0, but the average power is not 0. So as this power results from the thermal energy, it is called as the thermal noise power. Okay, here we can calculate the average thermal noise power, which is given by where N is the power, thermal noise power, which is equal to K T into B. So here this K is nothing but Boltzmann constant having value 1.38 into 10 raised to minus 23 joules per Kelvin. Then this T is the temperature of the conductor which is expressed in Kelvin, and B is the bandwidth of the noise spectrum which is in Hertz. Okay, so this equation indicates that the conductor operated at a finite temperature can work as a generator of the electrical energy. So the thermal noise power, that is Pn, is proportional to the noise bandwidth and conductor temperature. So we can see here it is directly proportional to this B, and that is nothing but bandwidth, and T is the temperature. Okay, then the next type of noise is the short noise. Okay, so in the short noise, it is produced due to the short effect. So due to the short effect, a short noise is produced in all the amplifying devices, rather in all the active devices. So here the short noise is produced due to the random variations in the arrival of electrons or the holes at the output electrode of an amplifying device. So therefore it appears as a randomly varying noise current superimposed on the output. So the here a short noise sounds like a shower of a lead shots falling on a metal sheet. So the short noise has a uniform spectral density like this thermal noise, and the exact formula for the short noise can be obtained only for diodes, and for all the other devices an approximate equation is stated. So the short noise can be expressed as In square is equal to 2 in bracket I plus 2IO into QB ampere square. So here this capital I is nothing but direct current across the junction which is expressed in ampere. Then I0 is the reverse saturation current, again it is in ampere. Then Q is the electron charge having value 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, and B is the effective noise bandwidth in Hertz. Okay, so for the amplifying device in the short noise, here it is inversely proportional to the transconductance of the device, and it is directly proportional to the output current. Okay, so this is the short noise. Then next type of noise is the partition noise. So this partition noise is basically generated when the current gets divided between two or more paths. So here it is generated due to the random fluctuation in the division. So therefore the partition noise in a transistor will be higher than that of diode, and the device like gallium arsenide FET draw almost zero gate bias current, hence keeping the partition noise to its minimum value. Okay, then next is the low frequency or the flicker noise. We know that the flicker noise will appear at frequencies below a few kilohertz. That's why it is called as the low frequency noise, and sometimes it is called as 1 by F noise. So in the semiconductor devices, the flicker noise is generated due to the fluctuations in the carrier density. Here these fluctuations in the carrier density will cause the fluctuations in the conductivity of the material, and this will produce the fluctuating voltage drop when a direct current flows through the device. So the fluctuating voltage is called as the flicker noise voltage. That means the square value of flicker noise voltage is proportional to the square of direct current flowing through the device. Okay, the next type of noise is the high frequency, or we can say the transit time noise. So here in the high frequency or transit time noise, if the time taken by an electron to travel from the emitter to the collector of a transistor becomes comparable to the period of the signal which is being amplified, then the transit time effect takes place. This effect is observed at very high frequencies, hence the name is high frequency, or we can say the transient time. So due to the transient effect, some of the carriers may diffuse back to the emitter, which gives rise to the input admittance. And due to that rise in input admittance, the conductance component of which increases with the frequency. So the minute current is induced in the input of the device by the random fluctuations in the output current, and that will create the random noise at the high frequencies. Okay, so this is the high frequency, or we can say the transit time noise. Okay, then after that let us see what is meant by the thermal noise, or we can say the noise calculation. So we know that the resistors can be arranged in series as well as in parallel. So whenever we are connecting the resistor in series, then what happened? The resistor act as the sources of the thermal noise. So let us see the effect of connecting two noise sources, that is two resistors in series with each other. So this situation can be shown in this figure. So the two resistors here, R1 and R2, are replaced by the voltage source equivalent circuit. So since the two resistors are in series, they can be replaced by the resistance R is equal to this R1 plus R2, and the noise voltage generated by the resistor of R is given by this En square is equal to 4k TBR, and this the value of this R is nothing but R1 plus R2. So we can replace the value of R is R1 plus R2. So hence it is given by En square is equal to 4k TB R1 plus 4k TB into R2. That means this whole term can be considered as a En1 square, and second is En2 square. So we can write here En is equal to under root of En square plus En2 square. So using the same logic, if a number of resistors are connected in the series, then the resultant noise voltage is given by En is equal to under root of En1 square plus En2 square plus En3 square plus up to ... n number of sources can be connected. Okay, so the effective resistance is given by R is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus ... up to n. Okay, so this is the resistor in series. Then second part is resistors in parallel. So for the parallel connection of the resistors R1 and R2, the current equivalent circuits are to be used, and the equivalent circuit for this is shown in this figure. So as the two conductances that is G1 and G2 are in parallel, so the effective value of this conductance is given by Gp is equal to G1 plus G2 up to G of n, and the noise current generated by the conductance Gp then is given by In square is equal to 4 Gp KTB is equal to 4 into the value of this Gp is the G1 plus G2, then KTB is as it is. Then after simplification we'll get In square is equal to 4 G1 KTB plus 4 G2 K into TB. Okay, so here we can write In square is equal to In1 square plus In2 square up to In square. So this logic can be extended for n number of resistors connected in parallel. So here this In1 square is equal to 4 in bracket G1 plus G2 plus G3 plus ... plus Gn into KTB. So if it is required to obtain the voltage generator equivalent circuit for the parallel connection of the resistors, then the equivalent parallel resistance is given by Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3 plus ... plus 1 upon Rn. And this En square is equal to 4 into this equivalent value of R. Here the resistance are connected in parallel, so that's why we have taken R of P into KTB up to n. Okay, so this is the condition of the noise, thermal noise. where the resistance are connected in series and resistance are connected in parallel. Okay. The next point is the signal to noise ratio. We know that in the communication system, the comparison of a signal power with the noise power at the same point is important. So this signal to noise ratio is defined as the ratio of signal power to the noise power at the same point. So we can write here S by N, that is signal to noise ratio, is equal to Vs square divided by R upon Vn square by R. So this R and R get cancelled. So the remaining term is Vs upon Vn bracket square. Okay, so this signal to noise ratio can be expressed in decibel also. So it is given by signal to noise ratio in decibel is equal to 20 log 10 into Vs upon Vn bracket square. So we can write here 20 log to the base 10 Vs upon Vn. So here all the possible efforts are made to keep the signal to noise ratio is as high as possible under all the operating conditions. Okay, so here we can calculate the signal to noise ratio for the amplifier. In that we will calculate first the resistance value, parallel resistance value, and after that we have to directly put the value of R in that signal to noise ratio. Okay, so here Rp plus Rn, that is parallel, and the n number of signals are there in the parallel combination, so that's why it will gives the signal to noise ratio for the amplifier. Okay, then next is the noise factor. So this noise factor is denoted by F of an amplifier or any network is defined in terms of the signal to noise ratio at the input and the output of the system. So it is defined as noise factor F is equal to signal to noise ratio at the input divided by signal to noise ratio at the output. So we can write PSI upon PNI into PNO upon PSO. So here this PSI and PNI is equal to signal and noise power at the input side, and this PSO and PNO is the signal and noise power at the output side. Okay, so here the temperature to calculate the noise power is assumed to be the room temperature. Remember this point, this is very important. So the signal to noise ratio at the input will always be greater than that of the output. This is due to the noise added by the amplifier. So therefore the noise factor is the means of to measure the amount of noise added, and it will always be greater than 1. So the ideal value of the noise factor is unity, and the noise factor F is sometimes frequency dependent. Then its value determined at one frequency is known as the spot noise factor, and the frequency must be stated along with the spot noise factor. Okay, then again this noise factor can be expressed in decibel also, which is called as noise figure. So this noise figure is given as FdB, that is noise figure, is equal to 10 log to the base 10 into F. Okay, this is the noise figure. So for an ideal amplifier, the value of Rn is equal to 0 and the value of this F is equal to 1. Then the noise figure would be 0 decibel for the ideal amplifier. Okay, so this is the noise factor. Then next is the noise temperature. We know that the concept of noise factor or the noise figure is not always the most convenient way of measuring the noise. Then the another way to represent the noise is by means of the equivalent noise temperature, and the equivalent noise temperature is used in dealing with the UHF, that is ultra high frequency, and microwave low noise antennas, receivers or the devices. Okay, so here the equivalent noise temperature of a system is defined as the temperature at which the noisy resistors has to be maintained, so that by connecting this resistor to the input of the noiseless version of the system, it will produce the same amount of noise power at the system output as that produced by the actual system. Okay, so this is the noise temperature. Okay, then after that we will see here the noise output power in terms of F. So we can express that noise output power in terms of F, that means in terms of noise figure. So the available power gain is defined as G is equal to what? PSO upon PSI. Then here we have to substitute the value of this equation in F, that is F is equal to PNO upon G into PNI, because here the value of PSI into PNI is equal to G, and we know that the noise factor F is equal to what? This is PSI upon PNI into PNO into PSO. Okay, so here the value of this G is PSO upon PSI. So instead of this we have to just write the value of G. So this noise factor becomes PNO upon G into PNI. Okay, using the noise factor equation. So therefore the noise power at the amplifier output is given by PNO is equal to cross product of this F into G into PNI. Okay, then we know that the PNI is nothing but K into TB. Okay, but the noise factor is determined at room temperature, so that's why we have to substitute T0 in the equation for PNI. So this PNI is equal to K into T0B is there, and P of NO is equal to F into G into PNI, and the value of this PNI is the K into T0B. So we can write PNO is equal to F into GK T0B. So thus with the increase in the noise factor F, this F, if we increase the value of this noise factor, the noise power at the output will also increase. That means they are directly proportional. Hence, higher the noise factor value is, more will be the noise contributed by the amplifier. So this is all about our today's session. I hope you will like and enjoy. So today we will stop with motivational quote. Today's motivational quote for you is, once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you will start having positive results. Thank you for watching my videos. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.